What's going on, everybody? How are you doing on this fine Wednesday evening? I am Midnight Hatter, and it's the 1st of December, which means that it is Gunpla week here on Midnight Hatter's channel. Hope you guys are having a good one. Audio sounds good. As you all know, I always got to double check my audio going into every show. Hope you guys are having a good week and a good day. Today we are doing something a little bit different from my normal Gunpla streams. You might see that I've got some kitchen paper with the soggy remnants of an old Zaku II Gundam kit. Yeah, you might say that he's really lost his head under pressure. So this is obviously a older Char's Zaku II. I think that this is before they started doing the high grade kits. This is the 1/144th scale, what is it, fair grade or, decent grade, whatever you want to call it. What's fascinating to me, and this I think that this still holds true, is that a lot of these older kits, what they lack in articulation, you will find that they show off in detail, because you've got a lot of these scribed in panel lines that you wouldn't see on a modern HG kit. A lot of your modern HGs are going to have more details, they're going to have more articulation, but you've got these little tiny panels that are filled in on the legs that you would not see filled in on a standard high grade kit. They're getting back to that level of detail, I would say, with the origin model kits and things like that. But I really do admire the level of detail that it was put into these older kits. What I will say about this particular kit is it was one of my first customs. I painted it a dark forest green with some copper piping, and I gave it a little bit of battle damage, but I was a teenager at the time, and I didn't know any better. I was a young babe in the world of Gunpla, and I sucked, which, for lack of a better word, but and I still suck. Let's not beat around the bush there. But I figured I would use this as step one in my Hatter's Redemption arc. I mentioned in another live stream recently that I stripped the paint off of an old oh man, look, see, I don't know if you can see that on screen, but obviously the paint on this guy is coming off quite well, which is good. We want that. So an older kit that I made a video of when I first started out on YouTube, a Zeta Plus that I painted a bright purple and white. That kit has been stripped of its paint, and I'm working on putting together a video with the new customizations that I'm applying to that kit. I figured I would cut my teeth a little bit on this guy, which is an older Zaku II kit. I was actually pretty proud of the battle damage that I applied. I took some old radio parts that from various electronics. When you play guitar from the age of 13 to 33, you tend to accumulate a lot of dumb electronics. Like, I think I have like a sitar emulator pedal that I never used on stage. As well, no one should. If you don't play a sitar, you should not try to emulate a sitar using a sitar pedal. That is the most idiotic thing ever. It actually is just a jet sweep effect pedal. It was a stupid purchase, and it actually promptly stopped working, I think, a year after I bought it. So I cut it open, and I had a bunch of little circuits and fuses and parts that I glued into this old model kit as its innards. Pardon me, I'm going to go ahead and hydrate here. So yeah, I recycled a lot of the innards of that old guitar pedal, um, and I used a bit of mighty putty inside of this kit to put those parts into practice, so to speak. And it looked really cool. It looked like the internal workings, the internal circuitry of a mobile suit, but I think that we've evolved beyond that. I think that we can probably do better than that. So that's what brings us here. These parts have been sitting in a bleach bath for approximately 2 weeks. What No matter what paint you use, whether it's acrylic, enamel, spray paints, this was a mix of acrylic, enamel, and I think I used some rattle cans on some of the other parts. It was mostly enamel with acrylic paints on the piping and a lot of the details. Bleach is a fantastic paint stripper for Gunpla models. Obviously, the inclination to use acetone in order to quickly strip the paint off is there, but acetone will also melt your plastic. These guys were sitting in bleach for approximately 2 weeks. You don't need to. Let me put it this way: the longer the paint has set, the longer you're going to have to let it soak in bleach before the paint will come off. And let's see, I think I put the lights in a probably terrible position. Let me go ahead and I think I've got a bigger light. We can hopefully this does not blow out my face. You can see my gray hairs a little bit more. But you can also see the model kit a little bit more, and that's a little bit more important. So as you can see, there's still a little bit of green in all of the creases and crevices of this model kit, but I mean, this was once a deep forest green, and let's see if it'll ever refocus on this. So this was once a deep forest green, and now it has been stripped down to like a pale color, and it is just coming right off the plastic without there being any damage to the plastic, which is important because I'm going to repaint this. And the way that this entire project sort of came about was because I had 3D printed, well, I found a 3D model of the Thunderbolt. Oh man, look, it's all over my fingers at this point, but that's good. Gonna take a guess and say mix of bleach and water. No, actually, I I went the dangerous route. I went pure undiluted bleach. And my wife will kill me because it was the lavender scented bleach that she got for our laundry. So these pieces smell fantastic. They smell like relaxing, calm lavender. Uranium. Ooh, so yeah. Don't tell my wife that I used our fancy bleach for Gunpla purposes, but yeah, you want to get your hands on any kind of bleach. I would go undiluted. You do not have to mix it with water, and you could take a toothbrush to this and it would come off. Obviously, the deeper into the creases and crevices it gets, that paint is going to want to cling on there. But yeah, I think that it stripped. Yeah, again, need I remind you that this was like a deep forest green. I think that this is probably the most accurate representation of the color green that was left on these parts when I originally painted them. So the bleach does a fantastic job of removing all paints whether they are enamel, acrylic, you know, whatever it is in your standard Krylon rattle can, because that's the way I like to paint. Honestly, I might never do enamel paints again. I might just stick to my rattle cans and my acrylics, because the Zaku II that I've got up there that I hand painted in acrylics looks fantastic. And that's part again of Hatter's redemption arc is, you know, I hand painted a Zeta Plus that looked like terrible, and the Zaku was my first well painted, hand painted model. Now that I'm getting into taking apart some of these old customs that I did and dressing them up, doing a better job than I did originally. Hopefully I can dress those. Yeah. Gonna work on Origins Granddaddy Gundam and give him hot rod flames. Well, that will make him go faster. I've been reliably informed by Futurama that some flames on the side of the ship will make it go faster. So that is the way to go. Rattle can and ruin a brush can, or ruin a brush via dry brushing. Yeah. Redeem thyself. Yeah, I'm trying to. Got connected properly. What's up, Goose? How's it going? What's up, Ultronimus? Kalos. Kalos, I saw that you were working on a kit as well. Why don't you drop in the chat what kit you're working on? Don't forget to rub cheetah blood on it. Yeah. I'm gonna go with a combination of purple and red, because according to Orc Magic, the red will make it go faster and the purple will make it sneakier. But all of that aside, like I said, there's a lot of paint consideration that goes into all of this. Yeah, see, this is all of the putty that I put inside of the leg to represent the battle damage, where I had put in some like random electrodes and fuses that looked like machine parts. I'm going to redo that in a way that doesn't look like shit, because there's certain battle damage that I'm probably just not going to be able to repair. Like I put a couple of bullet holes on the, there it is. I put a couple of bullet holes on the torso. I don't think that I'm going to be able to repair those in a way that makes it look pristine and perfect. So it is going to still be a battle damaged kit, but it is not going to look like absolute dog shit. One of the first things that I want to do is on these older Zaku II kits, you will find that they have absolutely zero posability in the waist, because the waist is fused right here, the mid torso to the pelvis. It's one piece of plastic, so you can't rotate it. It has a zero ab crunch. I'm going to try and fix that. As you can see, I think that the bleach must have weakened the plastic here, because I have a little bit of chipped plastic, which means, yeah, that's a little bit of chipped plastic, but that's okay, because I don't think that that's going to be too much of a problem. That is where the side skirt would plug in. Is there's a polycap piece that fits in right there, and you plug it in like that. I'll just have to create a new fitting for the polycap. But I don't mind that part being slightly broken, because that is where we're actually going to have to do most of our customization. As I said, the fact that this part is all one piece is what limits our posability of this kit. At the very least, I'm going to cut this part off and replace the inside of it with either a polycap that is like a ring polycap, and that will give you the torso twist. Or, and this is the preferable option, is I will replace it with a ball joint polycap, which will give us some ab crunch, develop the obliques a little bit. We'll see what happens. Mars 4 custom job. I started in March. Oof. With silver knee thrusters. Maybe try making some of the battle damage parts look like field mid-battle repair job. That's also a possibility. I do have plenty of putty that I could probably fill in these holes with. I don't know if I could repair this big old chunk with putty. A real grade force impulse that is going to get a F-22 style paint job. That's pretty cool. I do love a good aircraft gray paint job. That is always appreciated. The 1/1700th scale Argama that I have, I actually did not paint it flat white. I painted it in a aircraft gray, which, you know, you go to your standard art supply store and you can find all kinds of different rattle cans for testers paint. And, you know, I found like the solid stark white, which would make more sense for like a Pegasus class carrier. But I don't know, the aircraft gray, it's just a slight off-white, which I thought was pretty cool. This is a fancy little saw that came in a set of saws. It is obviously very pliable. It's probably like a micrometer thick, but it does a great job at cutting through some of this styrene plastic, and it does short work of many Gunpla applications. Now the last thing I want to do is break this additional, I don't want both sides of this pelvis piece to be broken. Well, there's only one way to find out. Actually isn't too bad. No damage to the digits. I will end up using this saw for multiple parts of this customization. And let's face it, I'm not going to finish this customization tonight, obviously. But at the very least, I would like to get a little bit of progress made on the, like I said, the ab crunch. If I can get ab crunch, I really want to make it as posable as possible. I've always said that the older Gundam kits have way more detail scribed into the plastic than the newer high grades. Again, they're getting better about it. You know, ever since the Origin kits, the detail has gotten a lot better. But I really do feel like, because how many high grades have the cockpit and like, I don't know what it is to the left of the cockpit, pilot side obviously, you know. So you've got your Zaku II cockpit right here, and then you've got whatever's to the left of it. I think on the older model of the EZ8 kit, as well as the ground type GM, you even have like a little hatch that opens up into the cockpit. That's something you don't get on like high grade GMs. So yeah, like I said, the detail level on these Gunpla kits has gotten worse. It's getting better. However, you'll notice that the price of those kits is getting a lot higher too. Do you remember when it was possible to buy a master grade kit for like 50 or 60 bucks? And now you go online and a lot of your high grade kits are 50, 60 bucks, and your master grades are all looking like they're $100 US, of course. Um, how does the gray limb connector parts painted in gold sound? I mean, as long as they still retain their tension, because obviously the limb connector, I assume you're talking about the plastic parts and not the polycaps, right? Because I feel like the polycaps still need to be kind of rubbery to maintain their grip. But I mean, I could do some gold. I'm actually open to suggestions when it comes to the paint scheme of this kit. I know that I originally did it in forest green, but as I said earlier, the way that this kit came about, or the way that this custom came about, I should say, is that I found a 3D model of the Thunderbolt backpack that the Goof, I say Goof, I don't care if you say Goff, Goof, whatever you want to call it, the Goof from Thunderbolt has that flight backpack, and I 3D printed it, but unfortunately I did not have any spare Goof or Zaku high grade kits to equip that to. Boom, there you go. So just a clean saw. And now that we've got that, we can take our, there's the rest of our pelvis piece. So what we're going to do is put some kind of polycap attachment in there and a polycap attachment in here to give us some ab crunch or at least some rotation. To be fair, a few of the newer Gunpla kits are from stuff such as Build Divers. That is very true. Honestly, Build Divers and Build Fighters, the whole Build series, what I love the most about that is that it has given new life to a lot of old kits. One of the major ones that I'm a big fan of is the Build Gundam Mark II. I bought that kit instead of the high grade Gundam Mark II because it's a better kit. The colors are a little off compared to the original Gundam Mark II, but it looks way better on my shelf next to a Zeta than the original high grade that has zero posability. Yeah, that kit is terrible. Goof! Yes, I don't even touch polycaps. For your paint scheme, a light blue. I would do a light blue. I even have some light blue rattle cans. GM Sniper K9. Love that model. Won its kit. Yeah. And I'm not even a big GM variant kind of guy, but the Sniper K9 is pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. I think the GM variant that I love the most is I've got a high grade GM Type C, the desert variant from 0083. I can't wait to build it. I think I started building it, but I never finished. Shocker. I start something and don't finish it. Oh man, like you see all my bald spots on top there. Would a squadron of it would indeed be a guff trup. It did also have one of the best battles. True. Very true. So, now that we've got this in here, it's a question of whether or not I can... So I might need to... What is it that goes in there? Okay. So that is the weirdest thing in the world to me. Is, you look at the side skirts, and the side skirts actually plug into the waist, which is going to limit our mobility. Because as I said, if the pelvis is on a free joint, these guys need to be on a free joint as well. So here's what I'm thinking. I need to get myself some of my magic tonic, and we are going to fuse these pieces together. I'm going to throw some putty into these slots because we do not want that. In fact, I'm going to go in here and snip these parts off because the last thing I want is the side skirts of my Zaku. Don't hit me in the throat. I don't want the side skirts of my Zaku to determine what his range of motion is. So I'm going to leave that detail. Let's see here. So he's got this little detail on the side skirt that kind of looks like a buckle. I'm going to leave that detail in place, but by taking off the peg that goes inside this little hole here, he is going to still be able to ab crunch. He'll be able to rotate, and I'm just going to fill that in with putty and sand it down. Call it good. Now GM transforms into a dog. GM Doge custom. Honestly, you could probably, if you were to use the, you could use the Gaia Gundam. Doesn't that transform into sort of a dog? I am gonna put us on intermission real quick while I grab my super glue so that we can fuse this together, because the advantage of these older kits is that I don't have to worry about a lot of the like shoulder joints and that sort of thing. I'm not too worried about the posability of the shoulders, to be honest with you. You know, they're on a rotating hinge this way and they are on a peg joint this way. That's really all I want. And the bicep itself rotates around a pivot point on the shoulder. I don't really need to tweak this part at all. And if I glue these parts together, putty that up, then I can install whatever polycap I'm going to use in here. So give me just a moment. I'm going to go away for a minute and I'm going to grab my super glue and a polycap to plug in there. Hopefully a ball joint polycap, but we'll see. All right, sorry about the delay there. Did someone just tell me to go commit lifeant? The joke's on you. I tried and failed. Let's see what kind of sandpaper we have that we can work with here. These are like... There we go. So I think a 400 grit is going to give us the optimal amount of sanding without being too detailed. Hey, what's going on, Juby? Thank you. I take great pride in my sweet little away screen. So yeah, here's a polycap sheet that I have. This I think is going to be too small, but I think that this one, a polycap D, big D, is going to be our best bet for, like I said, I would prefer to get ab crunch, but I think we're going to have to just settle for ab twist, which is still going to be more posability than this kit came with, you know, out of the box. So let's see what we can work with here. Because what I'm going to do is super glue this torso together, sand down its side parts, of course, and then fill it up with a little bit of putty, or at least fill up those side cavities that I mentioned with a bit of putty. Let's see what else. I think that's gonna be about it for the torso. Let's see, messing with the old master grades. This is where I'd put my master grades if I had any. Nah, I kid. I only have, in my life, I have purchased 6 master grade kits, and I have a grand total of 8 1/100th scale kits, because obviously the Bawu RE100 and the Zaku II Kai 1/100 that you so generously sent to me, they do not count as master grades, but they are the same scale. I hope to, of course, return the favor by sending you some 3D models to which you can print out on your new 3D printer. Yeah, I think 400 grit is going to be the ideal sandpaper for handling this particular kit. Um, 9 master grades, 60 high grades done. Oh my god. You masochist. Ooh. So yeah, once the plastic on this guy is fused together, I will insert our polycap hole. Oh man, I need to stop showing my hair in the overhead camera. Um, let's see, Master Grade by Barbados Life. Yeah, surprised there aren't any official. You take that back. You take that back, you brony. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and saw the skirt in half here. The newer high grade skirts actually do have that feature that allows you to saw them in half without them turning into absolute dog shit. This one, if I saw it in half, I am actually going to have to put some plaster or something in there to keep it from sliding out after I've cut it, because it doesn't have anything that will hold it in place. And even then, this is probably the most obnoxious thing about some of these older kits is like, let's see. So like, let's say for instance, we've got this part, we put our torso on. Yeah, the skirt can move down this way, but it's going to bump up against the thigh. But it really can't move back because it presses right against the torso of the kit. So even though they designed it to move on this hinge, on this axis, there's nowhere for it to go. So that's probably something that we'll need to address as well. Because the far superior Hello Kitty Gundam use a polycap. All right, I'm gonna create sort of a pilot line on this. I'd like it to be dead center, but honestly, it really doesn't matter because this part is going to be hidden under another piece of plastic. Now you get some of that sweet sawing ASMR. Alright. Now, of course, like I mentioned, I'm going to have to attach something to the end of it because this is going to come right off. But, needs to be done. You do want individually operating skirts. I don't want to know about your fantasies with Hello Kitty, alright? Let me just put it that way. I am missing one more thing. Let me grab that real quick. Pardon me. Some green stuff. Don't leave home without it. This is what we're going to be using. Had to fix my Gelgoog with the marine leg. Hip area broke. Had to replace it. Well, that's a shame. I was going to use some putty for this, but I think green stuff will work just as well. I hope that it's not too soft, but I think that it'll harden up enough that that we can work with it. Speaking of hardening up, has anyone seen those ridiculous like Get Roman commercials on Hulu? And it's like the tagline of these commercials is "Get hard or your money back." Look, I'm not in the market for ED treatment myself, but um, I have to say that Get Hard or Your Money Back is bold advertising. Very. Um, could mod a polycap to fit the skirt parts? Probably so. I think that that might be the route that I'm gonna have to go. Can't get Hulu in the UK. I did not know that. Um, you're not missing out terribly, honestly. Um, I have almost entirely stopped watching any streaming service, television. I don't, the wife and I don't have cable. We do have Hulu and Netflix. I would personally prefer not to have Netflix because all they do is make me angry nowadays. Um, Hulu's a little bit better, but um, at least in terms of their programming. What I will say about Hulu is, and for the American folks that are streaming with us, have you all noticed how Hulu does not remember where you are in a particular episode of a TV show? If you are watching and like you suddenly stop or whatever, um, it will restart every episode the second you log in again. It's really, really annoying. Speaking of Netflix thoughts on Cowboy Bebop, I cannot, as the great Wittgenstein said, whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must remain silent. So I am one of the few people who was so turned off by the Cowboy Bebop trailers and the marketing that went along with it that I actually did refuse to watch it. Um, and that's one of those things that I mentioned on Twitter. I was like, all you people who are complaining about Cowboy Bebop, you're all still gonna watch it. So don't even act like you're offended. Don't like save your breath. I have not watched it, so I cannot comment on it. Um, what I will say about Netflix Cowboy Bebop is that it probably should not have been done because in order to capture the sort of kinetic energy of an anime like that, you you really need to do it in CG. Like there's no actor that can move the way that Spike Spiegel moves. But I got Disney Plus and the Crunchyroll. Thought it was okay, but the anime was much better. Yeah, exactly. That's you know, okay is probably the best review that I've gotten of Netflix Cowboy Bebop, which it, it, that's almost more offensive. Like I wish that it were shit. I would rather it be bad than just okay because we deserve better than okay. Cowboy Bebop deserves better than okay. It deserves it deserves better, you know? And but that's not just look, here's how I'll put it. Let me put it in terms that are a little bit more universal. I'll put it this way. Firefly deserved better than Serenity. How about that? Serenity, the movie, was dog shit compared to Firefly, the series. Firefly deserved a better movie than Serenity. In much the same way, however good live action Cowboy Bebop is, and again, I really have no desire to watch it. It the anime deserves better than whatever Netflix can give it. It's like doing a live action Redline, just kind of not worth it. Exactly. Netflix One Piece doesn't look terrible yet. Emphasizes on yet. Yeah, emphasis on yet. I really enjoy the anime over the live action series mainly because I got to meet Steve Bloom. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, you can't you can't be upset about that. Um, yeah, and I think if you poll people who watched both, 100%, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, everyone is going to say anime's better, anime's better, anime's better. Um, it just didn't need to be done, and so why do it? You know. Uh, but again, I was so turned off by the promotional materials. I was like, this is going to be bad at best and mediocre at worst. Ah! Lost my torso. And like I said, I prefer when these things turn out either really really good or really really bad, because at least it sends a message. It says, "Hey, we really really want more anime movies, or we really really don't want more anime movies." What you really don't want is a lukewarm reaction where it's like, "Hey, try it again because you almost got it right." It's like, no, they didn't get it right. So H20, what was that? Delirious got the original voice actor for Vegeta to make a video with him. Oh, Chris Sabat. I wish I could like Chris Sabat, whatever, however you pronounce his last name. I wish that I could like him. Um, I used to really like him. I have an autographed Vegeta, um, Dragon Ball Z collectible trading card game card that's signed by him. But you know, drama of course happens. I get that, but I have to run. Time to eat dinner. Hey, enjoy your dinner. Thank you for the good luck. I honestly forgot about Cowboy Bebop Netflix after watching all of it in one day. I told people about it and then it left my brain. Yeah, right? Is that not the worst thing that could happen? Um, what's the old saying? The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference, right? If you hate something, it means that you loved it enough to be offended by it. If you don't care about it, it means that it was so bad that you don't even care that it exists. You know? It would have been amazing if there was a Gundam or Optimus Prime themed Jaeger in Pacific Rim. Maybe, maybe. I really enjoyed Pacific Rim, the first one. The second one was kind of whack, honestly. Um, I didn't think they needed to make a second one. But I really liked the designs of the first Pacific Rim movie. In particular, I loved what's the Russian one called? Cherno Alpha. Uh, that just spoke to me. Like that said, this is brute like Soviet Russian design, and I loved that. I loved that each continent's Jaeger really encapsulated what that culture's design aesthetic, right? That was awesome. Gypsy Danger was based on John Wayne. I did not know that. Cherno Alpha, yeah, exactly. Cherno Alpha was fucking awesome. Um, and Crimson Typhoon was the Chinese one, correct? The one with the three arms. Um, again, the design aesthetic of it screamed China to me. You know, like the designers that did the original Pacific Rim, do not get nearly enough credit. So before I go, do you want a Goof Master Grade? I mean, do I want one? That well, no. No, no, no. You keep that. I have a Goof Master grade. In fact, um, on the next episode of Trash to Treasure, this is my Goof Master grade that is in desperate need of some repair. Um, in particular, honestly, I would just love to get rid of some of these nub marks because back in the day, I used to either A, use a set of nail clippers to clip my parts out, or B, just bite them out with my teeth like a freaking savage. So yes, well, no, I do not need a new Goof Master grade. Yes, I do need to rebuild my Goof Master grade using the skills that I have acquired over a decade of building Gunpla. Well, this is going to take like 12 hours at least to kind of set and cure. So I might not be able to get my full ab crunch going, but that's good progress so far. I will use the little bit that I have left to fill in the hole, or the little gap, I should say. I mean, one of the things that I'm definitely going to keep on this kit. Oh, sorry. Let's see. There's a video that goes over how the Jaegers were designed to be and what they were based on. Huh. Fucking busted. Dynamis looking head ass goof motherfucker. Hey man, go easy on me, all right? I was like 15. Um yeah, I'm definitely going to repair that goof and give it the treatment that it truly deserves. I did back in the day. I used like the little clear lens on the mono eye, which is kind of idiotic because these older kits don't have a rotating mono eye, so just stupid. But yeah, at the very least, I will go ahead and fill in the gap here where the command horn goes, because I don't think I'm going to make this a commander type Zaku. In fact, I might fill this in using my extra green stuff, but if we're being completely honest, I've got some spare Zaku II caps up here that I might use instead. And I've even got an extra command horn if I need it. So, but yeah, Jubes, thanks for the offer. I do appreciate it. You are far too generous. And do let me know if you need some 3D models to print, because I have quite a many. I will probably have to dash here soon because I must, of course, feed the dogs. And of course, I'm not going to make much progress on this if I have to wait for this green stuff to cure. So I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow anyway to start sanding and drilling things in. Like I said, I really just wanted to make sure that I could saw off that torso. Let's go ahead and actually glue that part together. So yeah, I'm thinking we put the polycap in here. And I'm going to have to install a peg on the pelvis here. I'm also going to have to fix the pelvis because a part broke off. Thank you, bleach. Would have been a lot worse with acetone, though. Let's be honest. can't glue this. Can't glue this because I've got poly caps that need to go in as well. Well, let me see if I have those poly caps. I think that they were still in the bleach bin. Polycaps. So the real trick here is going to be making sure that I do not get any super glue on the actual polycaps, because those still have to move. But I do want to fuse the pelvis together. It's like all over my fingers, which is just great. We will use this, make sure that our polycaps still rotate. Looking good. I just have to wait until the chest unit is finished. Hey, random idea for something to spend points on suggesting custom builds. Oh, you mean like Twitch channel points? That's actually a great idea. I would love suggestions for custom builds, or honestly, even just experiments that you want me to run. You know, my whole YouTube channel is based on Gunpla experiments, right? I tried to make parts using melted down sprues and melted runners and things like that. So yeah, I'm all about Gunpla experiments as well as custom builds. So yeah, now that I've got these two, oh shoot, stuck to them. So yeah, now that I've got these two together, I will be able to put a poly cap in there and a peg right there that's going to allow us to have a little bit of ab twist. Every little bit of mobility counts. But I mean, honestly, the rest of this kit is very mobile. Just needs a little bit of TLC. So with that, I am probably going to go and feed the old hound dogs, and I will be back next week, probably playing some video games and talking Gundam 5e updates, because let's face it, I have been lazy as all hell working on that stuff. It's been a very busy holiday season so far. I hope that you all have, you know, gotten everything in order for your holiday season. I hope that you are, if you are traveling, you travel safe and you get to spend some time with family and friends that you don't often get to see. I hope you all have a great evening and a great rest of your night. I hope you, I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I, you know, tinker with these old broken toys. I feel like the little elf that wants to be a dentist. You know, I don't want to make toys. So thank you guys again for tuning in, hanging out with me, keeping the chat positive. I hope you guys have a great evening. Go get yourselves some dinner and a nice stiff drink, and I will catch up with you. If I don't see you before next week, I will see you next Wednesday for sure. Y'all take it easy, all right? Peace.